everybody. It's Chris. Happy Monday, April the 29th. Holy cow, it's almost May. Okay, I mentioned it's April 29th, 2024. 50 years ago today, April 29th, 1974, Richard Nixon, then the President of the United States, addressed the country to announce he was going to release transcripts of 42 secretly recorded conversations in the White House as an attempt to show the American public that he, in fact, did not know about or involve himself in the break-in at the Watergate Hotel and the Democratic National Committee headquarters. Now, this happened 50 years ago today, which in and of itself I think is worth taking note of because it is the thing that began the process that led to Nixon in August of 1974, which will be 50 years from August, resigning the White House in advance of being impeached. He would have been the first president impeached and convicted and removed from office. He resigned ahead of that in August. That famous picture of him going, the wave, and he gets on the Marine helicopter and flies off. So a couple things I want to revisit here because I think it's important for what we're talking about today. So Nixon initially fought the release of any of the secretly recorded tapes. He basically secretly recorded conversations in the White House from 1971 and 1973. So the White House committee that was focused on Watergate asked for the tapes. And Nixon initially said, I'm not giving you any of the tapes because of executive privilege. Sound familiar? Yes, if you've been paying attention, that is one of the many arguments Donald Trump makes about many things, but one of them is his retention of classified documents, that he was covered under executive privilege, he could do whatever he wants, and therefore he can't be penalized. So Nixon claimed the same thing, that he did not have to release these things because it was covered by executive privilege, meaning that the conversations of the President of the United States are secret and have to remain secret for the good of the country. So what Nixon tried to do on this day 50 years ago is he tried to have his cake and eat it too. So he tried to say, look, I'm going to give you the conversations. I'm going to give you 1,200 pages of transcripts. Now, I've edited these conversations and taken out the non-relevant stuff. But you're going to have 1,200 pages. Now, the House committee said, no, we want the actual tapes. We want the tapes, not your edited transcripts of the tapes themselves. And in July of 1974, the Supreme Court, again, a relevant thing as we discussed Donald Trump and complete and total immunity, the Supreme Court ruled for the House committee and said Nixon had to turn over not just edited transcripts, but the tapes themselves. What did the tape show? Well, on the tapes was what's now called the smoking gun, which was Nixon telling the FBI, the President of the United States, telling the FBI to end the Watergate investigation. A month later, he was gone. So to me, what we saw with Nixon was sort of the establishment of the bounds within which a president is allowed to operate, right? Nixon pushed the envelope over and over and over again. And eventually, the House and the Supreme Court, the other two, in our tripartite government, the other two major levers of power said, wait a minute, this is too far. You've abused your power. And they put him back in check. Fast forward to today. I don't think the Republican House is going to do anything about Donald Trump, candidly. That's my assessment. But the Supreme Court still has a significant role to play here. So sometime at the end of June, we're going to get a judgment on Donald Trump's claim of total immunity. How the Supreme Court rules, whether they reject it, accept it, or send it back to a lower court, will have a huge impact because it'll tell us whether Donald Trump will get tried on his classified documents retention or on his role in the 2020 election before the 2024 election. So everything that is old is sort of new again. I would urge you, if you're not familiar with what happened in 1974 with Richard Nixon and Watergate, you need to go back, do a little digging, read it up on it, because there are so many lessons on how a president tries to expand power, how the other levers of government react to that, and how their judgments ultimately either restrict or allow the expansion of executive power. Absolutely critical. Happened 50 years ago today. Happy 50-year anniversary. I guess. All right, that's it for today. Subscribe, like, and tell 5 people about this channel. We're building, people. I need your help. Take care. See you tomorrow.